Well, the start of Inperium was Supportive Concepts for Families, which was a company that Ryan Smith founded in 1993 in Reading, Pennsylvania. It provided services for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It started small, like most companies do. It had a single facility and only one consumer that was in its care. But it grew rapidly. Under Ryan's leadership from there, in just about 20 years, it grew to one of the largest providers of IDD services in Pennsylvania. They had facilities in 20 different counties and served hundreds of people. The impetus for Inperium was that Pennsylvania decided it was going to change the way that it paid providers of IDD services. For decades, what Pennsylvania had done was to pay providers on a cost reimbursement system, which meant the state reimbursed them for their costs, almost no matter what they were, which meant they were very inefficient. By 2015, it became apparent that that system was going to change, and what Pennsylvania was going to do was to pay on a fee-for-service basis. So every provider, regardless of what your costs were going to be paid the same amount for the same service. And that meant you had to be efficient. If your cost was going to exceed what the state was going to pay you for, you were going to fail ultimately. So you had to get more efficient. Ryan thought the best way to get efficient was through economies of scale. So he explored different ways of becoming larger. He talked to other providers about different business combinations. Many of them were interested because Supportive Concepts was a great company, but they all wanted to merge. That means they wanted their legal entity to become part of the same legal entity as Supportive Concepts, and they all wanted their legal entity to be the surviving entity. Ryan knew that that would mean Supportive Concepts would lose its management, its mission, its assets, and everything he had worked so hard for. So he thought there had to be a better way. And that was really the birth of Inperium.
The creation of Inperium was born out of my belief in the need for an alternative to traditional business partnerships and combinations. Generally speaking, combinations between businesses, whether it be joint ventures, mergers, acquisitions, or affiliations, are what I call violent in nature, meaning that there's slash and burn, negative impacts to one of the entities that's part of the transaction. Either side, it really depends upon who the stronger entity is. And through that process, you lose your autonomy, your control, your history, your assets, your ability to be entrepreneurial. And I felt that an alternative to those types of arrangements in the exact opposite form, if scalable, would be something that would be attractive to founders and leaders like myself in the nonprofit, for-profit behavioral health and human services space.